And we are live.
Yes.
What's up, world? It's your boy Tyrone Morgan, and I'm here tonight with another episode of the
The
Soul
Soul Rehab
Rehab
Podcast.
Podcast.
Yes.
And
Woo!
we are live
Live and
for real
direct.
and full of color. At least one of us is.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
The shenanigans are about to.
Here we go.
Here you go.
One of
Here we
us
go.
are in color. So listen,
I'm bright.
tonight I think y'all in for a treat. We usually get our foolishness out the way early, but tonight we didn't have much time to pre-pod, so y'all might get a lot of foolishness on this trip here. So as you come on, please like and share the broadcast. We want to make sure we reach as many people as we possibly can while we're doing this live. So how was y'all day? Because I'm trying to get this ticker to work.
I had a good day. I worked from home today. So, it was better than y'all know I don't have the desire nor the need to be in the midst of people every day. I love people,
Yeah.
but I need my just my me time sometimes.
I do, and this is, and the crazy thing about that is that I think a lot of people don't realize that, and they get offended by when you say you need me time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think it's a bad thing. I really like it. I need mine myself.
Nope.
So,
how was your day?
My day was good. This morning I had a crazy start, but it was good. Today was a testing day, and of all days, I forgot my bag with all my devices, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I realized it. Came back home and got my devices. So it was a good day, a very good day.
I'm glad you had a good day.
I'm glad you all did.
Mr. Morgan, how was your day?
I was just about to say, nobody asked me how my day was.
Oh my God. Stop it.
My day was very, it was good, but I was not productive enough for me. I did not get half the stuff that I needed to get done. So that's going to mean I got to work harder tomorrow. But outside of that, it was good. I'm still living. I'm still here. I'm in 2023.
Yeah.
Yes. That's just a blessing in itself because so many deaths, so many people are dying. So that's just a blessing. Millions didn't make it, but we were the ones that did.
I am in the number, as the old saints used to say.
Woo, praise him, Shondo. All right.
So, you know what? We started talking, and I didn't even give a chance to introduce y'all today. So, I wanted to make sure that I introduce the team. Of course, I am Tyrone Morgan. As I told you at the beginning, we have none other than the favorite servant, Miss Anisha Dawson.
Hey, my people. I hope you all are well.
And we got the voice of reason, Miss Frances Sutton.
Was a little bit more true behind that this time.
That was.
We'll take that.
2023. Yeah, it's different. Okay, we got a good start. So
we'll take it.
I'm proud of you. You added some flavor. I told you when we get on TV, you're gonna have to work on it. But anyway. So listen, tonight we're gonna talk about a topic that I think a lot of us have actually participated in that. Well, at least I can speak for myself, and I know I have participated in co-signing foolishness. So that's what we're going to talk about today. It's something that I think we do. Well, let me start with what I think the definition of co-signing foolishness is. I think co-signing foolishness is approving something that lacks good sense or judgment. That's what I think co-signing foolishness is. Something that lacks good sense. Approving something that lacks good sense or judgment. And today, I found out there was a scripture that I think really, really hit this one today. And I really want to read it. So it's Proverbs 19:3. And I'm reading the Amplified version. It says, the foolishness of man undermines his way, ruining whatever he undertakes. Then his heart is resentful and rages against the Lord for being a fool, he blames the Lord instead of himself. When I read that, I thought that was right on top. And this is the crazy thing about it. I'm not even talking about nobody. I'm talking about myself because I have co-signed some foolishness in my life.
I have to.
So
Amen.
this is not a podcast to beat up on nobody else. It's to bring attention to two things that we all do, may still be doing, but we want, since it's 2023, we want to make sure we shift the atmosphere with that mindset. Co-signing foolishness, a lot of times we do that stuff because it's family, it's friends, or people that we call friends. And I really have got a better understanding of what a friend is, because friends don't co-sign your foolishness. Not true when they tell you about what you, and it's up to us whether we listen or not. Kind of like the directions I got a while ago.
Yeah.
But
don't throw me under the bus now. But yes, you did get directions.
But it's still my decision.
Yes, it is.
That's right.
It is.
When she tried to bring me back in, I ain't gonna listen. So she didn't co-sign my foolishness. I just did it on my own. But
right.
You know, what are y'all thoughts about that before we jump into what we want to really talk about? About them.
You gave your definition, but I'm gonna go back and give the definition of a co-signer.
Okay.
A co-signer is a person who agrees to be legally responsible to pay a debt if the borrower does not pay back a loan. So this makes me responsible.
Oh my
It
God.
makes whoever the co-signer is responsible. So when you co-sign to foolishness, you are responsible as well for those bad decisions. A co-signer gives a stamp of approval. They get behind somebody. They get the go-ahead. I like this word. They endorse. They validate. They're a witness. They notarize, and they add one's name to something. So I kind of like how that. Now, if you ask me to co-sign for you for a car, I'm going to tell you absolutely no.
Right.
If you ask me to co-sign for a house, I'm going to say absolutely no. If you ask me to bail you out of jail, I'm probably going to hang up on you.
I don't say right now.
I'm not that person. I just want to put that out there.
Hey, don't leave me hanging, Sid.
But your definition
I might put some money on your book.
Hey, listen, your definition of co-signer made me feel instantly convicted. It was heavy.
Yeah. So when I was looking up, and I always love podcasts that we prepare for,
yes.
and that I have notes for. But when it was heavy because I was thinking about myself validating somebody, being a witness to wrong behavior, notarizing, actually authorizing somebody to do something wrong. Getting behind them and supporting them, and also endorsing them, almost as if I'm the cheerleader for the foolishness.
Right.
Right.
That's good stuff, Francis.
It really is. I'm still thinking on that thing. That's crazy because that's making me responsible for what I. That's heavy.
It is.
Yes.
I don't know. Somebody else better talk because I need to think about that.
All right, let me switch it from not being heavy. I'll give you the first thing we're not going to co-sign on is being ashy. We're not going to co-sign on being ashy, okay? We're going to share the love. We're going to give somebody some lotion and help our brothers and sisters out. We are not co-signing on ashy. All right? All right. We're just not doing it. All right. I just wanted to make you laugh. Y'all ready? But I was being serious too.
I mean, I knew that part.
We're going to help you get your shine on.
No doubt.
Okay, let me stop. The Joker is Tyrone, so let me stop. Let me get back to my.
Oh, no, that was good. Because my mind is still going, like, that's wild. All right. How about rereading that again? Rereading what you said about co-signing.
All right, the co-signer. A co-signer is a person who agrees to be legally responsible to pay a debt if the borrower does not pay back a loan. So this makes me legally responsible. This makes me responsible. All right. It gives us a stamp of approval. It gives the person a go ahead. It gets behind somebody. It endorses somebody. It is validating someone. It is being a witness to someone. It is notarizing someone. It is giving your name to a document and adding your name. So you're signing off on a person.
Wow.
You're actually being that person's cheerleader to do wrong.
Uh-oh.
That is crazy. That's a real statement there.
It is.
And I don't really think I ever really looked at it in that way, but I think it's real because
Yeah.
basically what I'm telling you that I'm cool with what you doing.
Mhm.
You know, and I know we about to get started, but you know, one of the places that I see, the major place I see co-signing foolishness is this blue app that we're on right now.
Oh, Lord.
Facebook is the king of co-signing foolishness. And so you know, you scroll through and you see certain stuff, you're like, man, why in the world is anybody agreeing with this foolishness? And I just think we do it sometimes just because I think we have a false sense of loyalty and what loyalty really means and what a friend really is. And most of the time when we think our friends are people who always agree with us, and in actuality that can be a bad thing because you don't want somebody who agree with, if somebody agree with everything you say, then I think that's a sign that they're not your friends. They don't never tell you something, and if you've been friends with somebody for 5 years and they've never told you anything that challenges you as a person, I don't think they're a friend. I think they're an acquaintance because they care more about how you feel than how you really doing. You know what I mean? So I think that's something that I'm really putting some thought in. So if you want to read the first question so we can start our foolishness, because I'm
Okay.
still thinking about that.
I also have a quote. I like this quote. And this is I got a couple from him, but I'll share at particular times since next Monday is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. I thought how
Mm-hmm.
fitting this quote was. There comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe nor political nor popular, but he must take it because conscience takes him. I'm sorry, because conscience dictates that he is right.
All right.
So you're taking a
Mm,
stand in a position, even when you know you're not going to be politically correct, you're
all
not going to
right.
be accepted. You have to stand for something. All right. Our first question is, why do we co sign support things we know aren't right? Examples being adultery, cheating, physical abuse, babies out of wedlock. Um, what was the last thing we said?
Oh, free to
Free
God.
Co-signing.
me, free
Yeah.
me, free me,
Free
and you belong
me.
in jail.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
committed a whole crime. You didn't hurt somebody, kill somebody in the whole nine, but it's free to God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's co-signing
That's
foolishness, honey. Oh yeah, we know the law. I got 3 degrees of criminal justice. We know
mm-hmm.
innocent till proven guilty. But hey, guess what? The charge is there. You got locked up, and guess what? Ain't no free you unless it's a
Somebody pay a
security.
bond.
You got the bond, the bail, or whatever, and then you still need to go to court because it
Yeah.
ain't no free guys. I don't care if it's my son, whose son, they son. I don't care. Ain't no free to
Yeah.
guys. You've got
Yeah.
to be held accountable for your behavior and your actions.
Yeah.
Period.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I think that's why we call it, when we talking about the co-signing and supporting foolishness, is because if you really sit and you think about that, that's really like a foolish statement. Um, and I think if I if I do something wrong, I need to be held accountable. I don't want, especially with men. Men don't need to be taught not to be held accountable. Men need, because we're leaders. We're leaders of the community. We're leaders of our families. We're leaders of ourselves. And so, one of the first thing a man must learn is to learn to be accountable for what he does. And you know, even I ain't gonna say I love my brothers. I love my cousins. But you know, if they do something wrong, I believe they need to be held accountable. Even with me, I'm the same way. If I do something wrong, I need to be held accountable. because I think it teaches us to be better people. And so something that we really kind of talked about was co-signing adultery, cheating, and what we mean when we talk. Well, what I mean when I talk about it is why do we support people that do these things? Like, why do we? And I know you can't control the people that you're around, but why wouldn't I talk to somebody about, like, look, man, you really need that. If you don't want them, you need to leave them alone. Now, why we don't give advice like that? Why do we let them use us for excuses? Now I was with you last night. Now, if anybody asks, I was doing such and such. Go,
I have a question. We got some feedback. Is that me? Where's the feedback coming from?
I don't know. I didn't hear it.
Well, I don't hear anything.
You hear it, Anisha?
Nope.
It might be you.
Okay.
Then,
you hear it? Okay.
Is it echoing or something?
Yeah.
Well, let me close my mess out. Maybe it might have been mine. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. I might have just had it too close. But
So to answer your question, I guess I'll say, okay, we'll give y'all a little leeway. When you're young, you might don't really know no better. You might think it's all fun and games and stuff.
Right.
But when you get older and you start to see things, yeah, that ain't right. So like you said, why don't you pull your homeboy, your homegirl to the side and say, look, man, you really messing up. Especially if you I saw somebody say something earlier about why do people mess over really good people. Like, especially if you know that person's spouse, girlfriend, whatever is cool people, and this dude out here or this chick out here just dogging them out. Like, why don't you pull them to the side and be like, hey, but homeboy, homegirl, you really messing up. Like, you're gonna mess up, you're gonna probably lose the best thing you ever had, and you may not get another chance. You might, but you'll always in your back of your mind be thinking about, like, I really messed that up. Like, I had it like that. Why we don't do that? Why we don't pull? Well, my people do. I mean, I'm trying to tell you, boy, I can't do nothing in this world without you keep saying something.
No doubt.
I'm trying to tell you, I can't do nothing. I cry, but I'm just saying, why we don't do that as friends? Like, and I think sometimes too, like we said before, people get so comfortable in dysfunction, and then you got other people that are miserable in their relationships and their marriages. So if they don't jacked up, they want yours jacked up too. So that's why they co-sign.
That's it.
Foolishness.
That's a fact. That's a different way to look at it, because it is. They are people who preying on your downfall. Just because you're miserable, just because they miserable, they want you to be miserable. So at times we need to kind of watch that. What I've learned to do too with me is give people permission to speak into my life. Sometimes people might not say something because they might, man, he don't really want to hear it, or she don't really want to hear it. But I've learned to give people permission to speak in my life, because, and not everybody, but there are people that I give permission to speak into my life so they can tell me about if I'm headed in the wrong direction, or something's not right. And I think if we learn to give people that we trust the authority to speak in our lives, I think some of them will speak a little more. Because sometimes it can be like, Lord, you know what? It's kind of like one of them things when the first time you tell somebody no, and after you gave them 100 yeses, you give them one no, and then they don't want to deal with you no more. So you get in that people pleasing thing. And we all talk about that before and talk about it a lot. But I think sometimes that's why we are co-signing foolishness, because you know what? They've been there, we've been tight, but it goes back again. Sometimes they only with you because of your dysfunction. When you start to heal,
they disappear.
They disappear because their function don't benefit them. The dysfunction benefits them so they can get what they want out of you. And dysfunction is not being able to say no. And we talk about this a lot, especially with us, and so people will look at it different. And so I think while we on the friends and, giving good advice, like, for example, like dudes who don't support their kids is one of the things to me that's like, look, bro, I may not be always on the money thing, but you got time. Spend some time with your kids. Take the time to spend with your kids. And then there's foolishness if you supporting somebody else's kids, and just because you live with a girl. and I'm on the men tonight because I need us to do better. But why do I want to hang around people who are like that? Not meaning they bad people, but you need to fix this area, this part of your life, because that's a child. You're not doing right by your child. Forget it.
By your own flesh and blood, your seed.
Yeah. So I can't keep co-signing on stuff like that. You need to do better. I mean, if you don't got the money, you got time. Spend some time. And I ain't on what you should be doing right. You for the child needs your time. Especially as a father, you need to spend some time with your child. So let's do that.
And let me get on the women. Like, again, I know we always say we can't make grown people do stuff, but you dating a dude and he got children and you don't never hear about the children, you don't never see the children, you ain't ask no questions. Like, what kind of one? It says a lot about your character that you will co-sign to a man not taking care of his children, not being present, not making a phone call. Like, it says a lot about you. That's selfish.
It is. And then you get mad when it happened to you. And after he done showed you.
When them tables turn, then you want everybody on your side to dog your baby daddy out. No.
Yeah. No,
remember, you was co-signing to that foolishness. Now somebody gonna be co-signing to your baby daddy foolishness.
Yeah. And that's a real thing too, because I mean, I think everybody as an adult should have a maturity level to make better decisions. And even though you may not look at that as co-signing foolishness, you are. This dude don't take care of his kids. He out spending money on you, and because to me that should show you what kind of man he is. He's not willing to take care of his kid, but willing to take care of you. And like I said, I'm not saying they're all bad, but they immature. And so you need to make a decision on whether you want to be in this person's life. And when you do, you made the decision to accept him not taking care of his kids. So when he don't take care of yours, when you have one, you have no reason to be mad because you made that decision.
Nope.
You co-signed that foolishness.
Whatever you put out in this universe, in this world, it's going to come back to you. You put it out there, you co-signed to it, welcome in.
And you literally co-signed into that.
Your turn.
You
your
really
turn.
are.
That was a seed you put out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You planted the seed, so you're going to reap the harvest from that one. Believe that.
Mm-hmm. And
I want to say something. Go ahead.
No, go ahead and say what you was like. I'm gonna shift it a little to something.
I want to say something. One thing. I see a lot of this co-signing on being a side chick. It is not a badge of honor to be a side chick.
No.
There is no badge of honor. If you ain't the only chick, you don't get a trophy.
Right.
And you shouldn't have the mentality to want to be a side chick. Again, I know sometimes when we're in our younger days, we do some stupid decisions. But the Bible says, when I was a child, I thought as a child. When I became a man, I put away foolish things.
Right.
You have 40, 50, 60-year-old woman still talking about they the side chick. No, that don't make sense.
And I'm talking about for 10, 20, 30 years, you decide cheat. That man ain't never never leaving, and you still co-signing foolishness.
Yeah, it's tough.
And your friends ain't even speak to you and tell you, girl, ain't you tired of being a side chick?
Right.
They ain't your friends.
Sometimes we need to look at ourselves in a mirror and, just do an evaluation of ourselves, and just some things just don't make sense. And sometimes we don't put value and esteem on our own self. If you think being a side chick is a bad honor, you're wrong. It's not. It's not a good thing. You shouldn't have to share a man. You shouldn't have to share a woman, vice versa. You just shouldn't. That's not the way it was designed to be. The Bible said, husbands, love your wives. It didn't say husbands, love your wife and side chick.
And look, let me say something to the women. And look, y'all, I get it. I get it. The pickings are slim out here. There ain't a whole lot of sherms out here. Y'all.
No doubt.
I mean, he all right, you know what I'm saying? But ain't a whole lot of guys out here, decent.
Oh my God.
Isn't it better to just disconnect? detox, heal your heart,
Mm,
heal your mind, so that you can attract what you deserve, what you need.
right.
Like, you got to take that time. You got to take the time to heal.
You do.
I know
And
the
a lot.
nights get lonely. I know that, but honey, is it really worth it at the end of the day? Just to have somebody time for 5 or 10 minutes or however many hours a day or a week? Is it really worth it?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, when he gone back home to her or when she gone back home to him, you feeling some type of way.
Yo,
And
you
you
are.
and then you always struggle feeling like, are you good enough?
Are you good enough? Are you adequate?
Are you
Mm,
good? Are
Told
you
me that.
worthy? So you're playing mind games with yourself.
You saying
So
yourself?
it just doesn't make sense.
No,
You are
mm,
worthy and you deserve more. So we
absolutely.
definitely, as women, got to stop signing, oh, he's a good man because he takes care of me. But he has a wife. That
mm.
doesn't make sense
That
because
part.
he buy you a Happy Meal and he's taking her to Ruth Chris.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Dang,
Ruth Chris
that's
me.
jacked up.
I'll wait for
Dang,
my Ruth Chris
dang.
because I'm not
It's,
doing the Happy Meal.
She can't get.
it's
She can't,
crazy.
she can't get Logan's or something at
He
least.
buys you a Cuban and she's wearing diamonds.
You got
No,
them good
Well, you know
Cubans
the
honey.
you know what the old folks used to say, a piece of man better than no man.
Oh
And
Jesus!
there are a
no.
lot
Unlearn that. Unlearn that.
Unlearn it.
there you
Unlearn it.
go.
Unlearn that
Red
one.
flag. Unlearn it.
Yeah,
Throw that
unlearn
away.
unlearn
that. No, we ain't doing that.
unlearn that.
It's 2023. We ain't doing that.
No.
Unlearn
And
that.
Mm-mm.
I think you said it right. We don't we whenever because they are side dudes, whenever we
Oh
don't
yeah.
value ourselves to be number one, we have a very low value on ourselves. And sometimes people just don't like commitment. So when you know you're in a relationship,
Some people
everything
just
ain't
can't be by
peaches.
themselves. They don't care
Oh,
where they
and
get
that's a fact.
the person from. They just can't be by themselves.
Yeah, that's it. And the one thing that I have noticed about side chicks and side dudes, the one thing they don't most of the time they don't get the headache, they don't get the normalcy that comes with the relationship, the routine things. And so when the person is with that person, everything is peaches and cream. They trying to get away from something else, and so you don't have to work as hard. And so I think sometimes people don't like to do the work. That's why they don't mind being a side chick or a side dude. They don't have to do no work. They just get what they want, make the person feel good, and they go back home. And so even with that, like we have to
Zach, come here.
we we have to learn to let people let people
Take all these
how
devices. Maybe it's these devices.
uh how do we
What is
make
that?
people how do we make people accountable for stuff like that? Do we just stop hanging around them? Do we, if we're close enough, do we tell them? Because I know if we ain't been the person that's a side person, or we have been around people who do it, like, how do we advise somebody to do stuff like that?
The adult thing to do would be to have the conversation, but people get so easily offended.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just have to bow out gracefully. Like I don't support that. Like
right.
I mean, if as your with y'all, I know I could have the conversation. Not
No
not
doubt.
you know, but you sometimes just got to bow out, man, because
Yeah.
you got to think to yourself. You thinking, well, me, I'm thinking like, why would I want that around me? Because if it happened to me, I'd be hot. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I ain't co-signing that nonsense.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like, because that's how I try to start make sure I look at everything. Like, if this was me, what I want this happening to me, and nobody
Exactly.
not saying nothing. And so when you start looking at it from that perspective, I think it may give you wisdom on how to handle stuff. And sometimes you just have to leave that person alone or quit being around them as much, because some people don't want to hear what you got to say, and that's fine. But I don't have to be around your foolishness neither. And I
No.
don't want to start co-signing
Mm-hmm.
it, because to me, if I'm around it and in it all the time, it might just rub off on me. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't need that, because I'm trying to be a better person. And it's 2023, and we want
Mm-hmm.
everybody to be better this year than what we were on last year. And so one of the purposes of the podcast is for us to point out things that sometimes all of us may have agreed to or co-sign on.
Hmm.
We talking about us. We ain't just talking about the
Right,
people who
right.
listening.
Mm-hmm.
We talking about us too. That we
Mm-hmm.
have co-signed that we really should never co-sign to. So that's why we want to have this podcast and have this talk. But while we own people, and this right here gonna be a hot take. Go ahead and tell you. These babies out of wedlock. Woo!
Now, all of us got one, so don't y'all get offended.
Right.
All of us
We
got
do.
one. Disclaimer, we all have babies out of wedlock.
No doubt.
Okay.
We do.
Okay, we do.
Yeah.
However,
So, yes. So we know that the ideal for family was to have a mother, a father, and children. We have all grown to the point that we know that's the best way because that's the king's way. And we know that there's something that a mother brings and there's something that a father brings to the child that needs to be together. And so I know that we love our kids. And I guess my question would be like, how do you because we want to support them and show them that, they made a choice. The choice wasn't wise, but we're here now. This is how we need to deal with this. But I always believe that we need to have a level of truth, especially when you're dealing with your kids. Like, look, you don't need to do this because if you don't want to be with this person, more than, long term, you need to watch what you're doing. But it's like, I want to teach, I guess where I'm at is I want to teach my kids different. And I'm not saying that they won't have a child out of wedlock. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I want to teach them different. And just because they do something don't mean they won't talk different. But how do we, I think we have made it so normal that it's expected to happen. And I want to kind of shift that perspective on that. And like you said, all of us up here have had a child out of wedlock. So we understand what happens and how it happens. But I just think that it has become so normal and we normalize it to the point that everybody just accepts it. And now we over celebrate it.
And that's exactly right. We over celebrate it. It's like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
When it should be.
Yeah. That's right.
Let me say this on that. In the olden times, if you had a baby out of wedlock, you were shunned.
Mm-hmm.
They sent you away.
Right.
And I remember that a lot of people, if you had a baby out of wedlock, they weren't giving you baby showers.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't doing all this, making it public and everything. And let me say this, and I want to make this clear. The child is not the sin.
Amen.
Because
That's
the Bible says children are a gift from God.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's make that perfectly clear. Children are a gift from God. That's what the Bible says. But again, back in the days, a long time ago, you had to be married. They would literally send you away. You have sometimes make you get married, even if you didn't want to get married. You would have grandparents pretending like they were the mothers,
right.
actually the mothers. So we're losing a lot of the standards that we had back in the days, and we are just normalizing everything.
Right. Yeah, and I want to add, I think it's a danger. What we done is we swing from one side of the pendulum all the way over. So we used to shame you. Now we're gonna go all the way over and over celebrate you. I think once we learn to come to the middle and meet, because I'm not gonna shame you. I can't. I'm not gonna shame. I got daughters. I'm not gonna shame them. But what I'm gonna do is get them to the point and like, look, okay, you know what caused this? You don't need to let it happen no more because and blah blah blah. This is ideal for family. This is how family works. It's better to have a mother and a father in the same household. You don't just make these decisions and don't understand the consequences of what can happen. That I want to just tell them I love them, but I also want to give them wisdom to move forward if it happens. So I just don't. I think when we go slam the shame and then we go all the way over to over celebration, because we do that a lot over celebration. It makes it think it's something that they should do, and I don't want to do that.
I
My
I,
my thing is, look, there's a reason I only had one. It was hard. It was
Mm-hmm.
hard. It was super hard. Honey, you couldn't pay me enough in the world to be pregnant again. No. And then the thing about it is, people will keep having children, and then they keep complaining. You keep
Right.
complaining. You complain about how hard it is, how much money you got to spend, absent baby daddies. You can't find a babysitter. This, and this. You put yourself in that position. You didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be in that position. You don't have to keep having babies. 9 times out of 10, if you got a few of them, you can get Medicaid. Uh, let's be real. We're gonna be real now. You can get Medicaid. You can get tubes tied. You can get birth control. You don't have to be in
Mm-hmm.
these situations. That's
Yep.
that's my thing about it. I got
Yeah.
I got friends. I got a friend that got 4 kids. I ain't never heard her complain a day, ever.
Mm-hmm.
She handle her business.
Right.
Like
And that's good.
it is. But the thing about it is, everybody on social media, you griping, you moaning, you complaining, but you didn't have to
Mm.
be in that situation.
It also
So
goes back.
at what point do you stop? Like, when are you gonna stop? If you're gonna do it, don't complain about it.
Right.
That's like to say, if you're gonna pray, don't worry. If you don't worry, don't pray.
Right. Yeah. That part.
There gotta be
Princess,
some boundaries, some end to the nonsense.
it does. And I agree with you. Princess, you had something to say before you forget it.
yes, we live in a world now that, like we're saying, there's so many resources, access to so much. A lot of places offer free birth control,
Mm-hmm.
free resources for you to not only free birth control, a lot of places are offering free opportunities for you to advance yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
Before we start making babies, let's make sure we're able to take care of these babies and
Absolutely.
not
Right.
have to depend on the government to take care of these babies. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
that too.
Yeah. No, it ain't the government. It's us.
It's
Us, the government, our tax
these
money,
two
all of
tongues,
it.
man. I'm tired. Y'all need to sit down, 'cause I'm tired. Daggone
It's us.
it.
And this is the go ahead. I'll let you finish.
But the other thing I was going to say, I remember my sister and myself, we had children. My mother and father, they would watch our children while we worked, but,
That
Mm-hmm.
was
but
it.
we had to come get them children
Exactly.
after we worked,
Right.
and you
Playtime is
have a
on
lot of
you.
people, they'll, grandparents, they'll watch the child while they clubbing and doing all kinds of stuff and doing
Mm-hmm.
everything wrong. And, like, it's almost like you're engaging in the behavior to say, hey, go out and make another one,
You
you know.
co-signing
Right.
for it. Mm-hmm.
That's
Absolutely.
Uh,
exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
but I do, I know how hurtful it is to be shamed because I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
To and that is just a hurtful feeling, especially if you're in the church. Um,
Right.
People do make mistakes, and
Mm-hmm.
we should love on them. Not so much to saying, "Hey, what you did was right," but
Right.
don't get somebody so where you shame them where they don't want to come to church. Where the furthest thing is they want to turn away from God. During that
Right.
time, they need
Absolutely.
support. So support
Mm-hmm.
them, love
Yeah.
on them. You know,
Yep.
give them grace,
Yeah. And that's a fact.
grace
And
and
this,
correction.
yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we got to learn to do. And I was gonna talk. We still talking about the kids out of wedlock, but you got if you with a dude and you having sex with him, unprotected sex, and this guy got kids and he don't take care of kids, you co-signed to have that child, and you
You
know
did.
he's subject not to take care of that child.
Oh
So
my God.
why you gonna get on Facebook complain about this dude and he ain't took care of the first 6 kids he got, and you think he gonna take care of yours because yours are special?
Let me
The first
No,
time
let me ask something.
they see
Then when
or 12.
you go get somebody,
right?
when you go get that woman husband out of her bed and you get pregnant by him, then you get mad because he don't want nothing to do with the child. Because the wife said you have something to do with the child, then you out of here. Then you mad.
Mm-hmm.
Guess
Yeah,
what? You signed up for
you
that too.
signed up for that. You did. That's you got to be an
You can
adult.
be
You
bitter
want.
all day and night, but you got that man out of that woman bed.
Yep.
You got pregnant
Yep.
by him, and he
Mm-hmm.
chose to stay home. Now you upset. Oh
Yeah,
well.
we can't. you got to be accountable for that. And like I said, I understand that, the child is the bigger picture, but when we make those, and I'm gonna call them, when we make those mistakes and we make them decisions, we have to be accountable for it. It ain't always fun. It's by no means do I think it's fun to raise a child on your own. I do not. I don't wish that on anybody because I know the responsibility that it takes to raise children. But this is the reason why we having this podcast, because a lot of us co-sign foolishness. And, if I tell you that, you might not want to do that because what happens if this happens? Oh, this ain't gonna happen. Anytime that you have sex, there is a possibility that you get pregnant, especially when it's unprotected. Ain't no birth control. You have the possibility to get pregnant, right? And so with us knowing that, you can't say that's not gonna happen.
Exactly.
You can't call it an accident. It won't no accident. You decide to have sex, it can happen. You know what I mean? And so we have to be accountable for the decision we make. And like I said before, when you with a girl and her parents take care of the kids because she ain't got time because she out in the street, when you met her, you knew what she was about.
Exactly.
And I don't want to let these men off the hook neither. You knew what this woman was about when you met her. And you can't get mad because she don't want to take care of the kids and she always running the streets and she leaving with anybody. When you lay down, you made a decision to plant your seed in that garden. So when that seed start growing and it come out of the garden and you got to make sure it get taken care of, you decided that.
Yep.
So don't get mad. I do believe men should take care of their kids. Most definitely. That is a thing I'm big on. Because I think a man who don't take care of his child is not a responsible man. And so I don't know how you want to build with somebody who won't take care of their children. And we will make the disclaimer that there are some women who won't allow the man to be a part of the child's life because they bitter baby mamas, whatever. But you can go to court and get some rights and make sure you have to take care of your kids. I don't know many women that would turn down money to take care of their kids. And I know money is not the only thing because honestly, there are people who can make kids and send money to take care of the kids and won't have nothing to do with it. I don't agree with that neither.
Mm-mm.
Because kids need two parents.
They do. Absolutely.
And they need us in the same house.
Mm-hmm.
And before we're gonna wrap this up, but
okay.
You also and then we'll come back with a part 2. But even we see celebrities, we're co-signing their foolishness. Nobody's holding these celebrities accountable. What you sent us the other day in the group chat, you out here having 5 and 6, 7 babies a year. That's foolishness.
It is.
We're co-signing with different mothers. That's foolishness.
There is no way you have enough time to spend with all those children as you need. 11, 12 kids.
They ain't in the same house.
No, that's crazy.
They probably ain't in the same state.
No, doing too much. And then congratulations to this person he need to get someone sign and wrap it up. And these women be held accountable because why would you want to be somebody 8th, 9th, 10th baby mama? I can't see.
They see them dollar signs is what they see. That's all they see, dollar signs.
I don't see no logic. And you still gonna be dollar signs, but you still gonna be a single mother.
Yep.
Ain't no logic in it.
No. No. And I think if the court quit supporting some of that foolishness, it'll be a change in it. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's something else I did want to say. We're not down to anybody who need government assistance. We're not down in that. What we are doing is telling.
I wish I can get some right now.
Yeah, exactly. Hook a brother up. But what we're trying to make sure is that
grocery shopping we're for
donations,
no shame.
Groceries, we down.
Yeah, it is real. But we just want you to learn. We want us to learn to make better decisions. We want us to become more responsible adults. And the system is there to help you get on your feet, not to keep you there. So we want you to not get stuck, especially young ladies. If you have a child young, don't get stuck. You still can become productive citizens. You still can go to college. It may be a little bit harder. You still can get a good job and make a good and decent living for your family. So let's,
I'm telling you right now, it's doable.
Yeah, it is. I ain't gonna say it ain't gonna be harder.
I'm
gonna tell you, like, honestly, I don't think anybody need a child before the age of 21, 22.
I say 30. Jesus.
I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to make it too high. But I will go because I just think it's you're in a better mental space when you're around that age. You know what I mean? So I think it mentally for the child is better. And then you had a chance to kind of experience life, and you don't have to grow up before it's time. And I think that's what's happening. We having to grow up before it's time. So when you 18, when you between 16 and 19, you still a teenager, you're gonna feel like you missed out on something. You're gonna feel like you didn't get a chance to live your life because you got a responsibility of a child. And so we don't want you to make that decision. We want to make sure that, like I said, we don't want to shame anybody. We don't want to over celebrate anybody. But we want to make sure that we love you where you at. We want to make sure we give you some good wisdom to move forward, so you don't recreate the same patterns that's been in our families for generations. Let's change the narrative on that. That's a fact.
Somebody can stop co-signing the foolishness, detox, heal. Let's start a new legacy. Not a legacy of toxicity and dysfunction, but of healthy, happy, functional living.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's right.
When you know better, you do better.
Absolutely.
That's a fact. We should do better because some of these jokers know better and they still doing wrong. Quit doing wrong. True. It's 2023.
That's right.
Some of y'all too old for this mess.
And some of them 40 and 50. Sit
Yeah, doing the same thing we were doing in our 20s. What is wrong with you? Okay, so listen. I decided to listen this time. So look, the conversation was good and we could not stop, but we got to because we don't want to pour too much into you at one time. I'd say it that way. So we would like to thank you for tuning in tonight on this live broadcast of the Soul Rehab Podcast. We hope to see you next week so you can tune in for part 2 of this conversation of co-signing foolishness. We like to wish you peace out. And be well.